Today we're going to be talking about whole class instruction in guided math. Whole class instruction is supposed to take 15 to 20 minutes per day. While working with teachers, I have found this is the biggest stumbling block. How can you teach everything that needs to be taught in math in 15 minutes a day? You can't. If you are teaching a mini lesson each day. There are more ways to teach than the mini lesson. During this video, I will show you the different parts of whole class teaching that will make guided math possible. The first strategy is called an anticipation guide. This can be done at the beginning of the unit. Doing this helps you see where your class is with the concepts you will be teaching during the unit. Make a list of questions that go with your unit that the kids can agree or disagree with. I use the misconceptions or misunderstandings that are the most common to see if my kids have the same thinking. This helps me to adjust my plans for the unit according to the students I have this year. The next strategy is a word splash. This can be used at any point in the unit. Vocabulary words are splashed across an anchor chart. Students read the words and try to guess what you will be studying during the unit or a series of lessons. They are using their prior knowledge and inferencing to create hooks that will motivate their learning. To prepare for a word splash, make a list of all the vocabulary words or models you will use during the unit or before a series of lessons. Put the vocabulary words or models that the kids are familiar with that scaffold the learning in the chart as well. Make a colorful anchor chart with the words or the models. As a class or in small groups, students try to guess the topic of the unit or the series of lessons. This helps them to see that they already know something about the new topic. A literature connection is the next strategy for whole class teaching time. You can read a portion of an article or a children's book to your class. Ask questions that will lead them to the learning you have planned. Reading an article with older students is best done in a jigsaw format. To do a jigsaw, divide your class into groups of 4. Divide the article into 4 parts. Give each person in the group a number 1 to 4. Have all of the number 1s sit together and read the first chunk of the article together. The 2s will read the second chunk, the 3s will read the third chunk, and the 4s the last chunk. They will summarize and be ready to teach their original group the important concepts of their chunk. Have the original group make a poster to show what they have learned. The math huddle is an important strategy for whole class teaching. During this strategy, the kids are doing most, if not all, of the talking. All you do is find an interesting problem that can be solved in multiple ways. Present the problem. Let kids have a couple of minutes to think and solve the problem. Then let them share out how they solved the problem. I like to use Fermi problems. They are real-world problems that require higher-level thinking. For example, how many cereal boxes would it take to fill up this classroom? I give them the measurements of the boxes and the measurements of the room, and then let them work. Let them talk to others or work in groups. If they don't finish in 15 minutes, make a list of their strategies, and then they can continue working on the problem during independent work time or stations. Another way to introduce a topic is to take a picture of an object in your classroom or find one on the internet. Show the picture and ask a question about it. How many ounces would it take to fill this cup up? How can I divide this into enough pieces so everyone will get a fair share? The next strategy that you are probably more familiar with is the mini lesson. The teacher does most, if not all, of the talking. If you let kids talk and share and answer and discuss, you will not finish the lesson in 15 minutes. If you plan on using a mini lesson, keep this in mind. The mini lesson consists of 4 parts: connection to prior learning, the teaching point, active engagement, and a link to ongoing instruction. The trick is to decide which teaching point to use. It needs to be short and to the point. If your TEK is 8.7b, use previous knowledge of surface area to make connections to the formulas for lateral and total surface area and determine solution for problems involving rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, and cylinders. You would not try to teach every point of this TEK in one mini lesson. Break the TEK into smaller chunks. Work on a small part of the TEK that will clear up a misconception or help scaffold the learning. Students won't retain the whole TEK if it's taught in one day. You will have to reteach it several times. So take the time up front to teach small chunks. The next step in the mini lesson is active engagement. This is a time when the kids try out what you just taught them. They need to talk to one another during this time. The last step is the link to ongoing learning. You will probably have an activity or a station with this concept. Let them know this is where they will apply their learning. You don't have to use a mini lesson every day. Look at your TEKs for the upcoming unit. Where are the most common mistakes made in each TEK? Pencil and paper tasks can be used during the whole class time teach. You can schedule a day for independent practice. Just don't teach on that day. Give them an assignment to complete in the 15 minutes you have scheduled for whole class teach. You can pull the kids who are having trouble with the assignment and help them. You can use this time to work one-on-one with kids as you walk around and monitor. I use this day to take a grade. I try to schedule paper and pencil tasks at least once per week. Another way to use the whole class teach time is to play games or sing songs or chants. Kids learn through play, card games, dice games, competitions. The sky is the limit. As you can see, there are many ways to use whole class teaching time in guided math. Less teacher talk and more students doing the work equals student success.